Let me ask you something. Are you living life by design or by default? Because most people wake up every day stuck in the same loop, repeating the same habits, wondering why nothing changes. They chase money, they chase success, they chase approval, but deep down they feel empty. Why? Because they're planting seeds of fear, self-doubt, and scarcity, and then expecting a harvest of wealth, joy, and freedom. That's not how life works. Listen to me. Prosperity is not a lottery. It's not luck. It's not just for the chosen few. It's a principle. It's a process. It's a pattern, and anyone can follow it if they're willing to change what they plant. If you're tired of surviving, tired of being behind, tired of waiting for your moment, then lean in, because this is your moment right now. Not someday, not when the economy's better, not when someone saves you. You've got to plant the right seeds now if you want the harvest later. In this message, I'm going to give you 7 unshakable principles of prosperity. Not fluff, not theory, real, actionable tools that have transformed the broke into wealthy, the lost into leaders, the frustrated into fulfilled. And I promise you this, if you listen with your whole heart and apply even just one of these principles, your life will begin to shift. Not someday, but today. So don't just sit back, lean forward, take notes, challenge your beliefs, because these are not just words. This is the blueprint. This is the moment. The old version of you starts dying, and the new, prosperous, powerful you is born. Are you ready? Let's plant the seed of success together. Most people don't realize this, but the first reason they're not creating wealth isn't strategy, it's scarcity. It's a mindset, deeply embedded, that says there's never enough, not enough time, not enough money, not enough opportunity, not enough luck. And the problem is, whatever you believe, you begin to experience. You see the world not as it is, but as you are. So when you live with a scarcity mindset, you don't make bold moves. You hesitate, you second guess, you play small, and you start thinking the problem is the system or the market or your background, when in reality, the biggest limitation is between your ears. Scarcity is a virus. And here's what's dangerous. It doesn't just block your ability to earn, it blocks your ability to see. It narrows your vision until all you can focus on is what's missing. And if you only ever see lack, you'll never reach abundance, because abundance is first a state, not a number. It's a way of thinking before it becomes a way of living. Prosperity doesn't start with your bank account. It starts with what you believe is possible. If you've been stuck for a while, if you keep hitting the same financial wall, if you keep telling yourself this is just how life is, then I want to tell you something with total certainty. That is a lie. That's not truth. That's programming. Somebody somewhere, maybe your parents, maybe a teacher, maybe society, condition you to believe that success is limited. That if someone else has more, you'll have less. That wealth is reserved for the lucky, the born rich, the chosen. And I'm here to break that story today. Because until you believe there's more than enough wealth, enough opportunity, enough ideas, enough power, you'll stay trapped in the cycle of survival. Abundance is not about wishing, it's about deciding, it's about stepping into a new identity. Not just the version of you that reacts to life, but the version that creates it. It's about choosing to see the opportunity when others see the obstacle. It's about trusting that even when you don't have the resources, you can become resourceful. You've got to train your brain to expect growth, expect favor, expect new doors to open. Because when you expect it, you start preparing for it, you move differently, you speak differently, you attract differently. The seed of prosperity doesn't grow in a soil filled with fear. You've got to clean out the weeds of old thinking. Stop telling yourself, I'm not smart enough, I'm not connected enough, I always mess things up. That's the language of scarcity. You've got to catch it when it shows up, because it will, and replace it with the truth. The truth that you are capable, the truth that you are worthy, The truth that the same breath in the lungs of the wealthiest people on this planet is in yours too. You're not behind, you're just unaligned. And the moment you align your thoughts with abundance, your life begins to shift. This is where it all begins. Don't look for better tactics before you fix your beliefs. Plant the right seed. Because once you stop watering fear and start feeding faith, the harvest of your life will be unstoppable. Let me tell you something. Most people never hear in school, never learn at work, and almost never hear from the people closest to them. Clarity is power. Period. You cannot create lasting wealth, freedom, or fulfillment if you are unclear about what that even looks like for you. You'd be shocked at how many people say they want success but have no idea what that really means. They say they want more money, more time, a better life, but that's not a target. That's a fog. That's like saying you want to travel but don't know the destination, don't check the map, and refuse to pack a bag. You're not going anywhere. You've got to get crystal clear that prosperity is not one size fits all. For some, it's financial independence. For others, it's the ability to give without limits. For you, maybe it's building something that outlives you, a legacy. But you have to define it. You can't hit a target you can't see. Clarity is what gives your life direction. It tells your brain what to focus on. It tells your soul what to commit to. Without it, you'll drift, you'll dabble, you'll settle. And worst of all, you'll wonder why nothing feels aligned. Think about this. Every powerful person you admire, every person who made real wealth, not just financially, but emotionally and spiritually, started with a decision. A clear, powerful decision. This is what I want. This is what I will create. This is who I will become. And when you make that kind of decision, life starts to bend around it. You begin to notice things you were blind to before. You meet people. You get ideas. The path starts to light up. Not all at once, but step by step, your future starts responding to your clarity. Here's what you have to do. Get honest. Ask yourself, what does prosperity mean to me? What would my life look like if I were truly wealthy in all areas? Don't answer that with what your parents told you. Don't answer with what Instagram shows you. I'm talking about you. What lights you up? What makes you feel fully alive? What would a day in your ideal life feel like? Who would be there? What would you be doing? Until you know that, you're building someone else's dream, not your own. Most people don't lack discipline. They lack vision. They don't wake up energized because they don't have something compelling pulling them forward. When you know exactly what you're building, it becomes easier to say no to distractions. It becomes easier to push through resistance. Clarity gives pain a purpose. It gives your grind meaning. When you're clear, you stop negotiating with yourself every morning. You don't wait for motivation. You operate from mission. Don't wait until everything's perfect to define your vision. That's another trap of the mind. I'll figure it out when I get there. No, decide now. The moment you decide, you give life a blueprint to work with. And here's the beautiful part. Even if the picture changes along the way, your momentum won't. Because when you're clear, you're in motion. You're not spinning. You're moving forward with purpose. And progress is what fuels confidence. Get clear, get specific. Don't just wish for success. Define it, feel it, and walk toward it every single day. Because the clearer you are about what you want, the faster life brings it to you. Everybody wants the reward, but few are willing to honor the routine. That's the truth. It's easy to dream about prosperity. It's exciting to talk about wealth. But prosperity doesn't come to those who want it. It comes to those who are disciplined enough to deserve it. Discipline is the daily watering of the seed. And if you don't water it, it dies. It's that simple. People think wealth is this big, dramatic moment, one decision, one deal, one opportunity. But real wealth, real prosperity, it's built in the tiny, often invisible choices you make every single day when no one's watching. It's waking up when you said you would, even when you don't feel like it. It's putting something into savings when it would be easier to spend. It's saying no to the easy path and yes to the one that demands more of you. That's discipline. That's what builds roots. You can't build something lasting on hype. You need habits, you need rituals, you need consistency. And the truth is, most people never get wealthy, not because they're not smart, not because they're not capable, but because they lack the discipline to stick with what works. Discipline is the bridge between your vision and your victory. Without it, you're just planting seeds and hoping they grow on their own. And we all know life doesn't work like that. You can't just plant and walk away. You've got to tend to it every day. You've got to show up when it's boring. You've got to act when it's inconvenient. And you've got to keep going when the results aren't immediate. That's what separates people who talk from people who build. That's what turns desire into destiny. The thing is, success rarely announces itself as success. It shows up disguised as repetition, as doing the right thing over and over again long after the excitement wears off. It's not glamorous, it's not sexy, but it's necessary. The strongest people, the most prosperous people, are not those who did it once. They're the ones who did it daily. They understood that greatness isn't in what you do occasionally, it's in what you do consistently. That's what makes you unshakable. That's what creates compounding growth. You don't rise by doing more when you feel inspired. You rise by doing what's right even when it's hard. I'm not here to sugarcoat it. Discipline is not easy. You will be tempted to quit. You will have moments where the old you shows up and says, it's okay to skip today. It's okay to ease up. But every time you choose discipline over comfort, you cast a vote for the future you. You make your roots deeper. You make your foundation stronger. And one day, the results show up not as a surprise, but as a return on all the consistency you put in. You've got to make discipline your default, not your last resort. Because if you only do the work when you feel good, you'll never build anything that lasts. But if you can stay locked in, if you can stay grounded in the process, even when progress is slow, I promise you, your breakthrough is not a matter of if, it's only a matter of when. Let's be real. If you want more, you've got to become more. That's the game. Prosperity doesn't come from waiting for someone to hand you a check or give you permission. It comes when you take responsibility for the value you create in the world. It's the truth no one wants to admit. The marketplace doesn't care how hard you work or how much you think you deserve it. It responds to one thing: value. And if you want to earn more, build more, impact more, you've got to solve bigger problems. That's where the real rewards live. Most people avoid problems. They run from them. They complain about them. But what they don't realize is that every major breakthrough is wrapped in a challenge. Problems aren't your punishment. They're your path. The bigger the problem you're willing to face, the more you grow, the more you contribute, and the more the world rewards you. Because here's the truth. Wealth flows to those who solve what others avoid. Look at every successful entrepreneur, every leader, every innovator. They didn't get rich by staying safe. They got rich by stepping into messes most people didn't want to touch. The key is this: you've got to stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a creator. Consumers wait for solutions. Creators become the solution. You don't need to wait for some perfect business idea or $1 million plan. Just look around. What's frustrating people? What's broken? What's inefficient? What needs to be done better, faster, simpler, with more heart, with more integrity? That's where the money lives. That's where impact begins. Prosperity isn't about how busy you are. It's about how deeply you serve. When you train your mind to look for problems to solve, you stop seeing obstacles as threats. You start seeing them as invitations. Every complaint you hear, that's a request in disguise. Every struggle someone has, that's a chance to rise. Stop playing it safe. Stop thinking small. You were not born to just get by. You were born to build, to lead, to rise. And you rise by solving things that matter to people. Now, here's the catch. Solving bigger problems means you'll face more resistance. You'll feel pressure. You'll doubt yourself. That's part of the process. You're not failing, you're expanding. And the bigger the problem, the more uncomfortable it's going to be. But that discomfort, that's the stretching of your capacity. That's where your next level is being born. You cannot become extraordinary by avoiding the pressure. Pressure is where your character is forged. It's where creativity shows up. It's where the leader in you gets activated. So stop waiting for things to get easier. Start training yourself to get stronger, because the life you want is on the other side of the problem you're avoiding. You want to elevate your income? Elevate your contribution. Become obsessed with adding value. Become the person people turn to when they're overwhelmed, when they're confused, when they're in pain. Be the calm in their chaos. Be the solution in their storm. That's what creates demand. That's what creates impact. And that's what builds unstoppable wealth. Solve problems no one else is willing to touch, and you'll live a life few people will ever experience. Let me be straight with you. Your energy is your greatest asset. Not your money, not your time, not even your connections. Because without the right energy, none of those things matter. You could have all the opportunity in the world sitting right in front of you, but if your energy is low, scattered, distracted, or drained, you won't even recognize it. You won't have the drive to act on it. You'll miss it, or worse, sabotage it. That's how critical this is. Prosperity flows to those who protect and direct their energy with precision. We live in a world that is constantly fighting for your focus. Notifications, comparison, drama, fear, other people's problems. It never ends. And if you're not intentional, you'll waste your life responding to the noise instead of building your future. Most people are exhausted, not because they're working too hard, but because they're leaking energy all day long. They scroll endlessly. They argue over nonsense. They engage in gossip. They say yes when they should say no. They try to please everyone. And by the end of the day, there's nothing left for their dreams, nothing left for growth, nothing left for building wealth. And they wonder why nothing changes. You've got to take your energy back. You've got to be ruthless about where it goes. That means setting boundaries. That means learning to say no. That means walking away from environments and people who drain you, even if it's uncomfortable. Because here's the truth. If you're always available to everyone, you'll never be available to your purpose. You've got to stop giving your best energy to things that don't move the needle. Your focus is sacred. Your attention is currency. Start spending it on things that multiply, not things that subtract. You also have to feed your energy, not just protect it, because your body, your mind, your spirit, they're the engines of your performance. You can't run on fumes and expect to be prosperous. You've got to move your body. You've got to nourish yourself with better fuel, better conversations, better habits. You've got to surround yourself with people who elevate you, challenge you, and remind you of who you really are. That kind of energy is contagious. It creates momentum. And momentum is what turns effort into results. This isn't about being busy. This is about being intentional. And don't confuse movement with progress. Just because you're doing a lot doesn't mean you're moving forward. What are you actually producing? What's actually getting built? What's the return on your energy? You need to ask yourself that every day. Because your life is not made up of years. It's made up of moments. And each moment you waste giving your energy to the wrong things, the wrong people, the wrong thoughts, that's prosperity leaking away. That's your potential fading into comfort. Make the decision to become unshakable in your focus. Train your mind to cut through the noise. Align your energy with your priorities. This is what separates those who rise from those who stay stuck. Because when your energy is high, your decisions are clearer, your execution is sharper, your presence becomes magnetic, and life starts to respond to you in powerful ways. Where your focus goes, your life flows. Here's one of the biggest myths that keeps people broke, stuck, and small. I'll give when I have more. They think generosity is something that starts after they make it, after the business takes off, after the debt is paid, after they finally feel secure. But let me tell you something that flips that lie on its head. Abundance doesn't show up after you start giving. It shows up because you started giving. Generosity isn't a result of prosperity. It's the beginning of it. You've got to understand something deep down. How you show up now is shaping what shows up later. If you're constantly acting from lack, hoarding your energy, your time, your gifts, your resources, waiting until someday, then you're sending a clear message to your own mind and to life that you don't believe there's more coming. And when you live like that, life mirrors that belief back to you. Scarcity attracts more scarcity. Fear attracts more fear. So that's where mindset shift begins, with your self-talk that says to you, you can't have what you want because you don't know what's coming. Because then you're living in fear. But the moment you shift into generosity, even when it doesn't make sense, even when it stretches you, you activate a powerful signal. I trust there will always be more. That's the shift. It's not about giving everything away. It's not about ignoring your responsibilities. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't wait to make an impact. You've got something to offer right now. Maybe it's your time, maybe it's your experience, maybe it's a kind word, a connection, a skill you can teach, a hand you can lend. Every act of generosity you put into the world is a seed. And what do we know about seeds? They don't return what you gave, they return multiplied. That's the economy of life. What you give expands, what you cling to contracts. But here's where people get it wrong. They give conditionally. They expect the reward to show up instantly, and if it doesn't, they get bitter. They say, see, I gave and nothing happened. That's not generosity, that's a transaction. True prosperity doesn't come from doing things for a reward. It comes from becoming the kind of person who operates from overflow, not desperation. And when that becomes who you are, when giving becomes natural, automatic, a part of your identity, you unlock a level of fulfillment most people never experience. You're no longer just chasing success. You're embodying abundance. Generosity builds trust. It builds character. It builds relationships. And those things are worth more than money. They open doors you can't force open. They create momentum you can't fake. People feel it when you live with open hands. They want to work with you, follow you, grow with you. Because energy like that is rare. It's magnetic. And the more you live it, the more life starts pouring back into you in ways you couldn't have planned. So stop waiting. Don't wait to be rich to be generous. Be generous and you'll become rich. Not just in money, but in purpose, in peace, in impact. Prosperity isn't something you chase. It's something you activate by how you show up right now in this season with whatever you've got. You already have enough to give something. Start there and everything begins to multiply.